Hey guys, it's Ashley, your scrapping nerd, and today we're celebrating Miss Ginger over in her corner there. She's got 3,000 subscribers, so congratulations to her. And for her hop day, we're using up our scraps. And so I have this Simple Stories paper from the Cozy Days collection. And I liked both sides, so I'm going to be using both sides. And then the Tim Holtz Sizzix die, I'm going to use that branch. And I had this other die that had the flower and leaves. And then you saw my bin of green and brown scraps and my bin of orange and yellow scraps. And so all I did was cut my dies from all my scraps to use. And so here's the florals, and I'm trying to decide which side of the paper I want to be the background and which side I want to be the circle. And so I'm going to use this plastic plate that I have in my craft room to cut out my circle, and just use my craft knife and trace around it. And like I said, I liked both sides of the paper, so I'm just going to cut the circle out, and then you'll see I'll just flip it over, and the floral is going to be the inside of my circle. And so these orange flowers I really liked, but they did throw me for a loop because the floral in the paper is a little bit darker than the scrap orange that I used. And so I debated about not having the orange and just having the yellow, but I think that the orange just adds something to it. The yellow was just a little bit boring without it. You'll see as we go along. But I'm just using this craft paper to back the page so I could attach the circle in the middle and have it be sturdy still. And I really like how this looks. I hadn't done a large circle before and just flipped it over. It's really nice when there's both print on both sides. And so this was a fun layout. And I only put the circle down in the middle because I wasn't sure if I was going to need to stick stuff under or between the two pages. So now I'm going to start kind of assembling my sticks. And so the idea that I had was for it to look like one of those grapevine wreaths. And so I cut out a bunch of these sticks from that Tim Holtz die set. And I'm using the Distress Oxide and Ground Espresso, and I'm not doing any kind of rhyme or reason to inking it. I'm just adding some ink to the sticks to try to add different dimension and different just some interest, I guess, to the sticks. And since this is all scraps that I used, the browns are not all the same. I did stay with the darker scraps. Like I had some light brown, but I thought that would be a little bit too different. But all the dark brown scraps, different shades of it. And so I think that adds some really nice interest to it. And all I'm doing is gluing the middle of the sticks down along that cut line of the circle. And then I put some on top and kind of intertwine the stick part, like the parts that are all sticking out. And I think it turned out really good. And I was just measuring kind of where the middle of the layout was because I only wanted the right side to be this grapevine sort of wreath idea. And so once I had kind of that layer that's covering up the cut line, then I went back in and added some extra sticks at different angles so that they were kind of sticking out off just the circle line. And I really like how that looks. I thought that it would come out a lot thicker, and I probably could have added another row of the sticks, but then there was something about the simplicity of just covering that cut line and having some that kind of went off on the sides that I really liked. So I left it, but you definitely could add another row and make this like a thicker grapevine wreath. And so now I'm going to start working on the other side. And so I'm taking all these leaves that I cut, and that die, I don't know, I got it off Temu, so it doesn't have like a brand name on it, but these leaves are really cool because they're like see-through, and so you could always back them with a different color so that the centers were a different green. And so it's a really nice die, but I did leave all of the centers out I thought that it would add kind of a whimsy look to the layout, and then you could see, you know, the papers behind. And so I really liked how that turned out. And all I'm doing here is I'm taking the bigger ones and I'm gluing the centers along the cut line of that circle so that you won't see the cut line at all. And that was the idea, and it just kind of created like a base for my wreath here. And I'm going to be putting my picture down in the left corner, just a little bit lower. I didn't know I was going to do it so low, but when I cut my circle, I kind of cut the plaid a little bit, so I needed to cover up a little boo-boo, but it turned out really good because it just gave more florals at the top of the wreath, which I really like. And so you can see I'm still just adding this base layer of these leaves, and I'm using my stylus, of course, and adding that texture so that I can bend them up so that they're not all flat. And I'm going to do it to all the flowers here, as you see me doing. And it just adds them so that they're kind of popped up a little bit. And I really like these yellow flowers. And there's some yellow flowers in the background of the picture, as well as the yellow from the floral in the paper in the middle. And so it looks really good. And I thought about just doing all the yellow ones, like I said earlier. And I don't know, because the orange was just really orange. I hadn't planned on it being so orange, but then when I didn't have the orange, I thought that the layout looked boring. So, I fiddled with this. Of course, I cut all of that out, so you don't have to sit here for 3 hours watching me go back and forth with these yellow flowers. But I took a break from that. I was like, okay, let me get my picture down. And I had this burlap scrap page in the scrap bin, and so I backed the photo and used some of that ground espresso and inked it. And I'm going to get this photo down. I'm going to put some foam behind it so that it pops up off the page as well. And so this is a photo of me and my husband, and then my father-in-law and my brother-in-law, and we were at a church function with my father-in-law. And so it's always nice when I get a picture of these guys all together. I don't get as many as I would like, and so of course I need to scrapbook it. And so I go back to these flowers. See, so I'm like, okay, I'm just going to do the yellow flowers. That'll be fine, I'll deal with that, and I'll just make a lot of yellow. And then I'm looking at it, and it's just, I don't know. It was just not popping like I wanted. And then I go back, okay, so I can put these orange ones in here. And I was like, but it's so orange. And, the problem is these are not colors that I normally work with. But I was like, you know what? I need the orange. I need that kind of pop of interest. So I rolled with it, and I do end up really liking the layout. So that's to say, I really stepped out of my comfort zone with the colors of this layout. And I really enjoy how it turned out. Anyways, so if you didn't notice, I like this layout, right? How many times have I said that? But I'm just finishing up fiddling with all these things. The leaves, I put some of the smaller ones on the right side. And I had these in that die set, are these little tiny kind of like star looking floral. And so I thought it'd be cute just to put a couple on the grapevine side. So I'm getting those kind of glued down. And I put a couple orange ones. But I did mostly do yellow just because I didn't want them to stand out as much on that side. And so then I decided, okay, so I need to have a title. And so I had these Heidi Swap titles, and they just says they're puffy stickers. They don't have like a collection name or whatever, but family was one of the words. And so I thought that was just perfect. On the right of this photo here, it just says family. And it has that gold element, which I think matched nicely. And inside those, with that collection of words, there was some little gold hearts I put. And I just pulled out some of these butterflies I had, and they have like a tint of gold on them. And so that kind of played off that gold that I just added. And I will pull out a bunch of these gold gems and just kind of mix them in with the florals just to add some bling kind of tie in also to that title again with the gold. And all I'm doing is I have like a blob of glue over there, and I'm just using the stylus to dip it in the glue and then put it on the layout. I also put some gems in the center of the butterflies. And then lastly, I'm just using my Wink of Stella glitter pin, and I'm just putting it in the centers of the floral. But that's the layout. Thank you to everyone that's liked and subscribed to my channel. I really appreciate it. If you haven't yet, go ahead and hit those buttons below. Make sure you check out Miss Ginger's Corner there. Watch her videos. A big congratulations to her again. Thanks, everyone. Bye.